afternoon, and time once again for the O&M Sunday Show. What a package we have for you today. So many things happening in Nigeria, and of course, we're up to date, up to the minute, looking at some of these happenings. Remember, of course, one of the very important lines and nature of the O&M show here on AIT. So today we're going to be taking a look at some major developments. Probably one of the biggest things happening in Nigeria today is the fallout from the Nigerian Labour Congress elections, NLC elections. We'll talk about all that, but just to let you know, of course, that my tag team partner is here.
I'm Obiora Ilo, glad to know you're there. And the biggest issue today is NLC, and the papers are leading. The Nation says the NLC splits as Waba emerges president. Ajero and Remu others reject results. And if you check out that story, it will tell you that about 23 unions within the NLC are threatening to hold another election on Saturday in Lagos to elect their own leadership.
Yes, I know they're saying that it's a special delegates conference in Lagos they are putting together. But the NLC is saying members stay away.
Ignore it.
Yeah, don't go. So, but I guess on Saturday we'll find out whether the members will stay away or they will attend that special delegates conference where I am sure that if it does hold, a factional president of the NLC will emerge. Yes.
And of course, also on the Nation, we have 2 weeks to polls. Jonathan's campaign in disarray as Buhari surges. They're quoting Eurasia projecting Buhari to win by 60% of the votes.
Polls, yes.
And we also, from this paper, understand that the president has sidelined Ahmadu Ali campaign committee. How true that is, the Nation should tell us.
Well, I think that may just be a fallout of people's perception of the fact that in recent times, a lot of Nigerians, of course, have watched Mr. President travel himself to different parts of the country. I mean, he was in Adamawa yesterday. I mean, he's actually meeting people one-on-one. So I think that's, and not much has been heard from the Ahmadu Ali campaign. I mean, to be fair, not much has been heard from the Ahmadu Ali campaign in the last 2-3 weeks.
Some reports are even saying that the president himself is disbursing campaign funds. Because they say there has been some mistrust. People may have gotten money before and used the money for other purposes and not the campaign of the president.
And then, of course, you also heard about the issue of the chairman of PDP, Adamu Muazu, in the last couple of days, and then the counter statements coming, there's no problem with the chairman and all. So I think a lot of people are interpreting that to mean that there might have been some little
there's some
hiccups in the PDP house.
But
I mean, the president probably has seen all this and he's doing his campaign by himself. If you ask me, I think it's wonderful strategy, taking his destiny into his own hands. Well, the papers generally are leading all that, but there's something that is different from The Guardian. It's a tight corner at the bottom here. Masob stages Jega must go protest. They're staging this protest. Obiora, a lot of people too are wondering. Let's see that. This is just by the corner here. A lot of people, are wondering, Masob stages Jega must go protest. People are wondering to say, Masob, say that they actually don't believe, in the Nigerian project per se. And so people are saying, if you don't believe in Nigeria project per se, why are you taking this special interest
why are you concerned
in about the elections with Jega?
Yes.
So there's a little bit of,
Okay, we go to Sunday Punch, where we see Jonathan rains dollars on Southwest Obas.
Wow.
He said about $250,000 each for the president's re-election. But then there's these other pictures and headlines that are making sense to me in the Sunday Punch. You have a picture of 2 policemen fighting. That picture has gone viral, actually,
on the
internet.
Yeah.
And of course, we have another one saying, Akwa Ibom State, where commissioners, others kneel for Akpabio's wife. There's just a picture there. And then a man also being arrested for tearing Patience Jonathan's posters, all in the Punch.
Yes, you know, well, I think we've had this. Too bad our cameras could not pick the picture.
Which one?
But this Akwa
No,
Ibom,
they can.
Yes, we've had it before.
Yes, let me quickly get it right.
We've had it before,
Yeah.
where they say, you know, in Akwa Ibom, commissioners and, you know, other government functionaries have to go kneeling down to both the wife of the governor and the governor himself to address him as if, you know, you're addressing some kind of emperor and that kind of thing. We've heard it before, but today we can see the pictures very clearly in the front page of the Punch, where one of the commissioners, I think that's the commissioner for works or something, kneeling before. Well, Orji Kalu enters Abia in a blaze of glory. This must be interesting. That's Orji Kalu getting into Abia there in a blaze of glory after almost 8 years leaving office. Finally, he's making his way back into Abia State. But Obiora, let me very quickly. I know you have some inside information about Orji Kalu. Is he still in the race in terms of contesting the position?
Well, I don't think Orji is contesting for any position. He was going to be contesting. There was a lot of pressure from friends and all that. There was also pressure from other people saying, look, you're beyond this. You shouldn't go and be getting into all this kind of politics in Abia State. But I think he's going back home to, you know, partake in the electioneering, you know. And for the first time since he left office, this is the first time he's coming back to Abia like this. You know, like wonderful. A carnival, people are coming out. Yes, I think he still wants to be relevant. Everybody still wants to be relevant.
And I think, I mean, Orji Kalu definitely will still be relevant.
Yes.
Okay, finally, from the papers, Army in final push against Boko Haram in Goza, Sambisa, Guneri. So that's it. The Army is making its final push into Goza, Sambisa, Gonari. All this, of course, against Boko Haram. And remember that the army is saying that before the elections, they probably will be able to get, you know, Boko Haram out of Sambisa.
Let's come back to today. Today we are discussing the crisis in the NLC. We've done our best to bring all the people we need to bring to the studio to talk about this. We have joining us the elected president of the NLC, the brand new. This is the first time he's appearing on TV to talk about
his first official interview of
anywhere.
Course, on the O&M show.
On the O&M. Comrade Ayuba Philip Waba, MNI, President Nigeria Labour Congress, is here. Our cameras, I'm sure, are showing us Mr. President seated, and just besides Mr. President, we have the General Secretary of the NLC. He's also in our studios getting ready to come on set.
Yes.
And we also have Comrade Chimezie Sylvester, who is the Deputy General Secretary of the Textile and Garment Union. You know, some people say, oh, wonderful election, everything went well. We have a new president. And some people are saying, we don't agree. We are going to have a new president on Saturday. So we'll be talking about all that in this program today. We also have Chris Nwandu,
a man who's been several places, from entertainment to serious journalism, dustings with the Federal Safety Commission, and currently a blogger, a man who a lot of Nigerians are hooked up to get up to the minute information.
Yeah, Chris Nwandu is here. He's also a publisher. He's also a publisher. He's everything. Chris is everything as far as I'm concerned.
And we're actually going to be talking about the social media and 2015 elections. And Chris will be joined
by Rosemary Ajuka, is a broadcast journalist. But there's a broadcast journalist whose strength is actually in the social media besides her other pluses. And of course, Blossom Nadim is another blogger. Far away, United Kingdom will be talking with her.
All right.
And that's it.
Yes, sure.
Plus more.
Yeah, plus more.
Plus more.
All right. We'll return with our first interview shortly. Don't go away.
Thank you.
Akuga. For almost 3 decades, I have been involved in broadcast journalism, with the better part of that time in the gathering and production of news and news programs. I'm proud to have pioneered weekday morning news talk show on Nigerian television, first with AM TV Live on DBN television and later with Kakaki on AIT.
I am Obiora Ilo. Over 30 years ago, I started my career at Radio Nigeria. Over these long years, I've presented several programs and interviewed hundreds of guests, men and women. You're watching the O&M Sunday Show, and joining us right away is Chris Nwando, blogger, publisher, editor, and Rosemary Ajoka, broadcast journalist, whose strong point is actually the social media. You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Chris, good to see you again.
Nice to see you.
After a long, long time.
Chris,
My G.
You're welcome.
Brother.
I'm good. Sit down.
Thank you very much.
Rosemary, you sit.
So, Chris, tell me, at what point did those of us in the mainstream media start competing with those of you in the social media? Like you guys coming from the back door to take our jobs.
Well,
What happened?
I wouldn't
You never
know.
told me you guys were jealous
No,
of us or something.
I wouldn't know when. But you also have to understand, Obia and remember that we all started this together. I've been part of the media.
Yeah.
I've been coming to Ikoyi, where we started. You know that. You know how we started and the rest of them. But actually, the issue is that a long time ago, maybe about 3-4 years back, some of us knew that this is going to be the new face of activities in the media. And we only try to align up with ourselves with what is happening in other advanced countries. And we also realized that the rate at which the media was going is going to move from the conventional media to the social media because of the power of the internet. Okay, when the internet or when the telecommunication was opened up with the licensing of the GSM companies and the rest of them, we knew that a lot of things were going to happen.
So, yeah, go alongside.
Initially, people just looked at it, thought that it was going to be just make phone calls and text messages, but some of us knew that more than that, the new world is moving, and this is where the whole world. And you want to realize that over 65–70% of whatever target audience you are looking at find themselves within that age bracket of between 18, 19 till about 50, 55, which is also going to make this election very key. Because close to 65% of voters in this coming election are going to be the youth, which is why the president is addressing the youth, which is why Buhari is addressing the youth and the rest of them. Most of the hardcore people that you think that people like you ordinarily that will take their time, if it's going to rain, they might not come out to vote. But a young man of 18, 19, 20, up to 30, 35 knows that whether it rains or shine, is going to stand there to vote. So that is where we came into the system, tried to bridge the gap. And we also have to realize that the kind of thing we do is news on the move. You understand what I mean? People no longer need to wait till 8 o'clock to see you come on.
No longer need to watch our...
That's what I'm saying. That's the problem.
You guys want to take our jobs.
I don't need to wait till 8 o'clock to see you come on. I'm Obiora Ilo. This is
Mamode, we need to do something.
Yes.
We need to.
So that is it. So we need to bridge that gap. And people are not ready to wait till 7 a.m., 8 a.m. to read the cover of Guardian or This Day and whatever to know what is happening. That has been overtaken by events.
Okay.
Yes. No, so, Rosemary.
Yes.
How much of, because a lot is happening with the elections that's coming up in 2 weeks.
Yes.
And surprisingly, a lot is going on in the social media. In fact, there's so much that is not on regular television and regular media that is, actually on, social media now. But from your perception,
Yes.
do people really believe completely what they see on social media?
Here's the thing now. First of all, we cannot take away how important traditional media is. You cannot take that away. I mean, for lots of people on social media, they don't even believe that newspapers, regular newspapers still exist, but they do. Right? So on the one hand, we cannot take away traditional media, but on the other hand, social media is such a big deal. You cannot ignore it. And all over the world, people are realizing, okay, this is the new media now. You better get with the flow, or else you will become, you go back to the dinosaur years. So you have to, get with it. Now, with regards to the elections, well, maybe we're not completely taking everything that we see on social media. It's not advisable that you take it hook, line, and sinker, because a lot of times it's just people's opinions and not really the actual news. And sometimes social media is, like I always give example with the knife, Social media is like a knife. You can cut bread with it and you can kill somebody with it, and it's still a knife. Social media is like that. It can become a tool. It is a tool that can, lead to a lot of progress, but also it can also be misused for propaganda. A lot of political parties are using it for propaganda. You put something out there and everybody's talking about it. So on the one hand, it is vital for the man on the street to get that on-the-spot information as it's happening and getting it.
Just a minute. Let's go to the United Kingdom, where one of your colleagues, who is also a blogger like you, Chris, where we have Blossom Nadim. Blossom, are you there with us?
Yes, I am. Good afternoon.
Okay, Blossom, would you weigh in into this discussion? Why are you guys taking over our jobs, our regular media jobs, through the back door?
Through the back door. I actually like that. Why I love or like that, is that's actually the reality. But then I believe that the world is actually moving at a quicker rate or at a quicker pace than the traditional conventional media, was able to prepare themselves for. So these days we have citizen journalists who are not certified or regulated by anybody, and with the inflow of technological advancement, they've been able to take over that space and try to break news as it happens. And apparently, because they don't have any ethics or code of conduct to oblige or to more or less to obey, so they just do their own thing. And human beings just want the information. They really don't want to bother about how the information gets to them. So what I think is it's actually the fault of the traditional media. If they had been able sort of look into the future and understand that it's not just about the content, but also about the platform that the content is distributed, then they would have been able to ready themselves in advance. But I think they're doing quite well these days.
Okay. Okay, Blessing, thank you for your insight. And I hope you're having fun in the United Kingdom.
Absolutely. I hope to be back for the election so I could cast my vote.
Oh, so we'll have you in the studio when you come back.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Yeah, Chris, let's come back to you. I mean, the social media is so important in these elections that even the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria has a special advisor on social media, But how much of it do you think can influence people to vote the other way? I mean, people who are traditionally PDP, the things that you put on the, how much of it can now make them move or change their opinion? Because Rosemary said, look, a lot of it is personal opinion. Yes, and a lot of it, like you, I see your page from time to time. A lot of, in fact, almost everything is your personal opinion.
Yes, exactly. 2 weeks ago, was it 2 weeks ago? The president had a meeting with key actors in the social media circle, and I was one of them. We were about 30 of us that he had a meeting with at the State House at Marina, and the key words he also recognized, said it that day, that initially probably they took it for granted But with the trends and things happening now, he has come to realize the effect and the effect of the social media. Because I said that his government is going to key into that system in coming days. And as you said, it's more of a personal opinion, but you also have to know that most of the people involved are opinion leaders and have very, very large followership. Okay? So they have large followership.
But it's opinion based on facts, though.
It's opinion based on facts. But you have to understand.
Let
me say something.
No, let me say something.
There is a discrepancy, but you know.
Let me say something. They are bloggers and they are bloggers, and that's what we understand. They are professional. There are some people that are professional journalists that are into blogging. Okay, then there are also some people that just came into it just for the fun of it. But most often than not, you have to realize that whatever is being discussed are things that are already in open.
Okay, let me ask you. Let me ask you. Unregulated. You do whatever you like.
That's
so
right.
many lies.
That's right.
So many truths.
That's right.
How do we harness the effectiveness of the social media without actually hurting people as much as they do? You see a lot of pictures. You see a lot of extreme opinion because it's not regulated. How do we make it more standardized so that
the
people
first
can rely
question is,
more?
in whose hands do we have this? If you have a product or something you want to put out there, maybe your political party, whose hands are you putting your social media into? He's the guy who drives what people think about you. The reason why some people are doing better on social media with their brands and others are not doing so well is because social media is raw material. You harness it and you use it for your own good. And yes, it's unregulated. We can say whatever we like. NBC will not do anything to you. Nobody will sanction you in any way. And yes, sometimes it's more random opinions than fact. But then again, there's a very thin line. By the time, the issue with social media is by the time you talk about something over and over and over and over, people begin to say, maybe it's true. Maybe it's true. You know, that's the thing with social media. It's propaganda. You put it out there a lot of times, people begin to think maybe there's some truth to that.
Mamode, why don't we look at what some people are saying to us on the social media? Actually, on our Twitter account, Mark Diddy at O&M Late Show says, what at Rosemary Ajuka said concerning social media is so right because it's the easiest way to reach out to the youths.
I mean, it's just confirming what Chris said earlier on that. Yes, you know.
It's very difficult to regulate.
It will be. It will be.
You know, it's because.
But some countries have made progress with that.
Yes, we do. The issue is that let's take blogging, for instance. It takes you just less than 10 minutes to set up a blog. Absolutely 10 minutes to set up a blog. And it depends on what you're talking about. The same thing with Facebook and rest of even in the Western world, it has not been regulated. It cannot be regulated.
Well, except you want to go like China and show everybody
out.
Certain
countries like
China is on the other extreme.
That's extreme side of it.
Nobody goes on the internet.
What we need to know is that most often than not, let our opinion leaders try to key into this. The earlier they get to understand. For example, look at President Barack Obama when he was contesting. Where he got most of his funds was from through the social media.
That's right.
That's where he got his funds.
That's right.
Okay, let's talk talking about funds, really.
Yes.
Because I see that some of you are taking even adverts now on, you know.
Well, because like he said, you have a followership.
You have been looking at my page.
You are making a lot of money.
You have a followership.
What happens? An average advertiser, what does he look for? He looks for followership. He looks for his audience. How he will be able to get across to the audience and the rest of them. If he finds that platform, he goes for it.
Chris, what's your followership like now? Don't lie to me.
I have a page view of over 25 million people on my page. Yes, over 25 million.
So what advertiser wouldn't want to tap into that?
A page view of over 25 million people. So what we're talking about is what it means is that you grow. This thing grows over the age. If people continue to trust you and the kind of information you are bringing for, there's a tendency for them to believe you. But just as she mentioned, there's also some elements of propaganda, depending on where you are leaning and the rest of them.
Before we go, yes, I want to quickly ask Rosemary, what level of politicians are actually used, I mean, at the level of the president and the political parties, we know they're using the social media very well. But getting back down the ladder. The guy who wants to go to the State House of Assembly.
Right.
Yes, the guy who wants to go to the House of Reps. How much of the social media are they using?
Not so much, which is unfortunate because they do not realize what they're missing out on.
Exactly.
There is, I said it's a raw material, but a lot of people do not know. Even companies, a lot of companies and don't even have website. They don't care. It's not my problem. I'm so and so. I'm so big. I don't need to get on the website, on the internet. So I think that a lot more politicians need to get on social media. First of all, you need to know what the people are saying about you.
Yeah.
And then you need to also put your own message out.
You respond to it.
No. We have to leave it there. Please, we have to leave it there. We are short for time. The president of the NLC is right here with us. Gentlemen, we'll just leave you with a little comment.
Oh, thank you.
Obviously,
Thank you so
we
much.
have to.
I hope this will be on your desk.
I will try to put it on my desk.
Thank you.
It was nice
Okay,
to
we have
be
to
with
get
you
you
guys.
So we'll take a break. When we return, we talk about the NLC and that election that looked bigger than the Nigeria presidential
A
election.
lot of it is already on the social media. I can tell you that. I am Mamode Akuga. For almost 3 decades, have been involved in broadcast journalism, with the better part of that time in the gathering and production of news and news programs. I'm proud to have pioneered weekday morning news talk show on Nigerian television. First with AM TV Live on DBN television, and later with Kakaki on AIT.
I am Obiora Ilo. Over 30 years ago, I started my career at Radio Nigeria. Over these long years, I've presented several programs and interviewed hundreds of guests, men and women, the big stars and the not well known, the rich and the poor, politicians, movie stars, journalists, the good, the bad, and the ugly, as they say. You just name them. I've also covered events across the world, from Europe to America, from Asia and back to Africa, bringing first-class reports.
Now, together with Obiora, I will be coming to your screens 2 nights a week, Tuesdays and Fridays, with the O&M Late Show.
Mamode and I will be bringing our decades of experience to bear on our new talk show, the O&M Late Show.
Just fun. I don't think there's no big difference. Just no Facebook. It just anything we used to know. It's just a free thing. You have the right to talk anything.
It's not really good for me. Something too childish for me. Politics. Facebook, WhatsApp, even sometimes on Twitter. And honestly, I think it's quite unprofessional, and to me, it's quite unpragmatic for some people to be, scandalizing or sometimes insulting our leader, Jonathan, or sometimes his opposition, Buhari.
Irrespective of whether they are contesting for a particular office, it doesn't mean Nigerians should criticize them by putting up funny videos, criticizing them by doing the funny comics about either of them. So the better we start dealing with our personal self now, the better for Nigeria.
O&M Late Show, reaching you from AIT Studios in Asokoro in Abuja, Nigeria. The NLC has had quite one of the most fiercely contested election. An election that started like, I think about a month ago, and then we concluded it just yesterday. A new president has been elected, but some members say, we no gree o. Joining us now is the newly elected president of the NLC, Comrade Ayuba Philip Waba, MNI. Also with him is the General Secretary of the NLC, Dr. Peter Zon. And of course, we have the Deputy General Secretary, Deputy General Secretary, Textile and Garment Union, Comrade Chimezie Sylvester. Gentlemen, you're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations, Mr. President.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Mr. President,
Thank you.
welcome.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
You're welcome.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Dr. Son, welcome. Sylvester, welcome.
Well, Mr. President, let me say congratulations again.
Thank you very much.
But sometimes when an election goes this way, some people say we agree, some people say we don't agree. It could leave some kind of mixed feelings in even the man that has won. How do you feel knowing that you are just going to inherit, if we are not careful, a very divided Nigeria Labour Congress?
The issue is about the process.
Okay.
Whether the process is transparent, credible, and what have you. Because it is normal for people to have an opportunity to express their feeling after a process is concluded. But I'm also sure, I'm convinced, that even arriving here is because of the strength of the internal capacities that we have in NLC to be able to look at the issues and also propose solution. I'm hopeful that these same structures will be applied using the mechanisms that have been tested to also address the issue. The issue of the credibility of the process, I think, is not in doubt, because 3,119 delegates participated, and all the 43 affiliates also participated. From the beginning to the end, all preliminary issues that were raised were also addressed. And that is why all the unions participated fully in line with the constitution of NLC. And results were declared. The first general secretary of NLC was the returning officer. And the first president of NLC, Comrade Hassan Somonu, did the swearing-in ceremony and inaugurated the newly elected officers. So I think it's about the credibility of a process. People may have their opinion, but when you look at the credibility, it then gives that leader the assurance and the confidence that all is going to be well.
Mr. President, everything seemed to have been going well at that election. Yes. Accreditation, voting, and what have you. But your opponents, in quotes, are criticizing the counting process of votes and what have you. If that is not what you think, what went wrong?
Certainly, I think that is just an afterthought. They participated in all the process, as you said. Even in the voting process, they participated because their agents were there, and the process was very transparent. All our elders, veterans, and the founding fathers of NLC were there seated, including international observers. It has been adjourned to be the best. The process was very clear. Don't also forget, it was the same people, through the same process, that the earlier conference was truncated, issuing or using the same reason. So what I'm saying in essence is that the credibility of the process, which even the media have testified to, is not in doubt. But I think the most unfortunate issue is that people will have to have reasons for whatever they are doing or whatever action they are proposing to do. But I think the assurance I'm giving Nigerian workers, because we need to actually appreciate them. For 3,119 workers to sit down for 48 hours and await the process of an election is really something that needs to be commended. And therefore, I think Nigerian workers have spoken through the process of that election. And therefore, even where they have issues, I thought it's better that the issues are even addressed by the Electoral Committee at that point in time when the process was on. But not when a process had been concluded. Elections announced. Now you decide to...
All right, Mr. President, let us listen to Sylvester and hear his comments on this. I'll come to the General Secretary shortly on with the way forward with this from the Secretariat. But you are putting together a special delegates conference for next Saturday in Lagos. I don't know what the position of the Secretariat is, but do you think you are doing something proper?
Well, before I go further, may I use this medium to appreciate AIT for a job well done. I mean, you have been doing a very good job. Most importantly, for making Comrade Ayuba to recognize me, to greet me for the first time. Oh yeah, it's necessary. Okay. And I thank God he recognized that. I said, sir, you don't know me, for greeting a member of delegate for the first time.
Okay.
Having said that,
yeah,
I equally thank God he mentioned process. The whole process, like you mentioned, of sorting and counting was flawed. Truth must be told. And we must put the truth, even if you want to, appease people or whatever, the truth must be told.
When you say flawed, how do you mean?
I'm coming there, sir. Now, yes, we came for the election. Remember, don't forget, like you mentioned, the first one was equally about process. Constitution was waived, procedure was thrown away, process was not followed. Even at that stage, we staged a walkout, and the veterans called us back. And that process that was not followed, again, showed its face at the second election. We casted our vote, fine. That was where the transparency ended. The next thing we saw was they used police to barricade where the sorting and counting. And I'm sure you have record of it. Nobody, no delegate has the opportunity.
Well, we are showing pictures of
Yes.
the election.
Fine.
As we are talking.
Fine.
Nigerians
Fine.
are seeing.
No person, no delegate have the opportunity to see what was going on, even at that sorting and
Did you have your representative in there?
Yes.
I mean, when you have your representative,
I'm
what are you
coming.
complaining
No,
about?
sir, I'm coming.
Okay.
Even political parties, you and I do see openly. We witness Obasanjo, Atiku openly. People see it.
Okay.
There was no barricade, no blocking. That was number one. Two, sir, they were not fully prepared to conduct that election. And I will tell you, after voting, it took us 3 hours to sort out auditors. 3 hours, they are here. Then people were now asking, what is the matter? We do conduct branch elections. We do conduct regional elections of 5,000 delegates. And within 3 hours, we finish. What is happening? The next thing we saw, they took a break. No announcement to anybody. We were all kept in the dark. They took a break for over 3 hours. We asked, they said they went to go and buy bean. People were, is it beans or bean? To count election to, I thank God the Chief Secretary is here. We were put in the dark. Meanwhile, you can't sort out votes and you keep it aside. Say, don't count. You start sorting out. No. Once you are sorting out, you are counting. He's here. What they did, they sorted out just to know whether they are winning or not. They will sort out to use that criteria to weigh. And they say, no, leave this one, leave it. Let's go to another one. Don't count yet. That was, we have our agents. And I thank God they are on your tape, even at the press conference.
I think at this point, Sylvester, you've raised quite a lot of issues.
Yes.
Like you said, lucky enough, we have the General Secretary. Dr. Song, a lot of the things he said are not directly pointing at the president. President really has...
He was just a candidate.
He was a candidate. So the Secretariat, which was actually putting the elections together, I mean, how do you respond to some of these allegations?
No, actually, I'm amused. I'm amused. Because the facts must be told. Luckily, various television cameras were on throughout this process, recording video and audio as the process went on. And I'm sure if you play your own media recordings, you would see the process of counting. Let me address the issues directly. Number one that he raised is that police barricaded and delegates were not seen. Certainly, after the experience of the first aborted process and the necessity to ensure that we protected the ballot, security had to be in place. Even the choice of the venue, Eagle Square, was to make it as open and as transparent as possible. Yes, in the process of counting, some cordon of security was maintained around the counting table to prevent people who may have planned to again disrupt the process. And I'm sure if you look at your video cell, I saw in one of the national papers today in the front page, one of the pictures of the point almost at the end of the counting that almost resulted in a stampede. If the security people were not there, the materials on the counting table, the plan was to scatter them. Because somebody claimed to be sick, He was an agent of one of the candidates. In the morning, as we were going on, he tried to cause a lot of confusion.
Agent of which candidate now? I think, the election
is over. No, we should say, yes.
Yeah, so
he was an agent of the president of one of the presidential candidates, Comrade Ajero.
Okay.
And he tried to raise a lot of troublesome issues on the table, even while others were being counted, not the presidency. And we had to plead and intervene so that there was no quarrel. It almost resulted in a physical fight. We managed it. Towards the end of the vote, one of the security chiefs came to me to say, "Where is there an ambulance?" And I said, well, we didn't expect it was going to get to this time. So the ambulance we had the next day had gone, but no problem. If somebody was sick, I could get an ambulance immediately. And we made calls. Within 5 minutes, the ambulance was there. The person who was lying and moaning on his back, immediately the ambulance came, he sat up and started using water to wash his face and said, "No, I don't require an ambulance."
What was the purpose of the drama?
Wait, let me get there, because I think it's very important that we lay these things on the table. He then refused and said, no, he needed some drugs. So the ambulance left. And the people went and got the drugs. When they brought the drugs back, he said, no, he didn't want. He's dying, he needs ambulance. Now that the ambulance had gone. And in the process, some of his people he had prearranged took him, grabbed him up as if he was a dead body, and they were trying to use that to charge on the table. That's when you saw those horses, mounted horses, and security quickly formed that cordon. So the attempt, just like the first attempt, the first aborted process, was pre-planned, that if we are losing, we will scatter it. But this time we prepared, security-wise, and they couldn't scatter it. But that did not in any way tamper with the process of counting. The agents of the various candidates were seated. When he now claimed to be sick, we stopped the process and said...
Who claimed to be sick? Who is this sick person?
Agent, I don't have his name on me now. Okay. He's the agent of Comrade Ajero. When he now claimed to be sick, we stopped and said, please, we need a replacement for Ajero to have an agent. And he's the president of his union, who also was a member of the accreditation committee that handled and did everything about the election, was now invited to sit and observe, and he was there throughout. And this counting took place. So the arguments about candidates not being able to
was there a time where you had sorting different from counting?
No, I'm taking it in the order he raised. I'll go to that now. The issue of sorting and counting. You have a single sheet. If you have 8 candidates on a single ballot, and there are 3 positions, you will need a process of sorting. The first thing 2 things were done. First, we empty the entire ballots and count them without looking at the candidates to certify that the number of votes did not exceed the number of accredited delegates. Because if the number of votes exceeds even by 1, the number of accredited delegates, that vote is void automatically. So we first count, and we did it openly. And if you view videotapes, you will find it. Then we record the number. It is after that we come to the sorting. But to use the example of the most complicated, which he referred to, which was that of the auditor, where you have 8 candidates for 3 positions. The only way you can sort that is to take it and you look at where the ticks are and the names are read out. If more than 3 names are ticked, you say void, because you have to choose 3 candidates. You can choose less if you want. Yeah. So we read it out, and I almost lost my voice. And the president of ASU, who was the chairman of the accreditation committee, if you view those tapes, also at periods would then be choking and he would stop. I will replace him, and we were alternating, taking and reading those things out for the counting to be done. And that is what led to what Comrade just said. Initially, when you say so person, you mark a stroke. So person, you mark. We discovered that it was going to take forever. And that was at the point in which we, in consultation with the
all the
representatives of the contestants.
Okay.
We decided on a new process.
So there was a slight modification during the process.
Yes, and that
Okay,
modification.
Mamode, let's go to our Twitter handle, where Preferred at O&M Sunday Show says this NLC election had a predetermined outcome likely to have been masterminded by the immediate past NLC president Omar. And then McDiddy says, please, even if the structure that brought in President Ayuba in was flawed, I feel you all need to work together for the future elections and all that. Okay.
We can say that. But yes.
We'll come to you. We'll come to you. Just
no, I think maybe we should take him first because
he raised 3 issues.
Which one was the third one?
The issue of their being represented, for instance.
Yeah, you said that. You already said that they were represented.
So,
okay, Sylvester. Yeah.
You see, at this point, I expect he's our general secretary. Nobody is doubting it. To at least be on the truthful part, because the issues are so glaring. Now, sir, you took off.
No, you're talking with us.
They took off 3 hours break without announcing to anybody where they were going. Number 1. 2, if I may ask him, at the critical level of counting the votes, why did you switch off light?
So why did you switch off the light, General
At
Secretary?
the critical level.
No.
Please. Very good.
We are not using NEPA.
Please. We were counting before we started the process of counting. While we were doing counting, at about 6 p.m., I asked that they should call me the manager of the Eagle Square facility, because I didn't want to leave where we were counting. He came and met me there. And I said, please, ensure that even if we are on generator now, ensure that even if a NEPA comes, that we remain on the generator. We do not require any period where there will be darkness. And he told me it was okay, and that in any case, the Eagle Square generator is arranged in such a process that you have different backups, and that there would be no period in which there would be darkness. And we went on. After some time, the person in charge of the generator was brought to me. And he said, please, we are going to, and the security chiefs were there, we want to, at a moment now, switch to another generator. But in doing it, only the floodlights will go up. These other lights will be on when we switch.
And when it was done, that was
it. You can view, please.
Okay.
You can view it on your. There was no point where there was total.
Okay. Let's go to the president.
Yes. At this point now, we need to look at the future. Comrade Ayuba, you are the victor. How magnanimous will you be in victory? Is there a possibility for some kind of reconciliation to bring the entire house together?
Certainly, united, we stand as a movement, because our strength is in our unity. And therefore, the first agenda on the table for the present NAC is to see how we can be able to unite the house. A lot of effort have been put in. All the veterans are already also on their feet, and therefore there is no loser or winner. All of us are winner, and Nigerian workers are winner. And therefore, we'll be so magnanimous in this victory to make sure that we work as a team. There are a lot of avenues where people can fit in and where we can be able to take on stock their input so that we can be able to build a stronger Nigerian Labour Congress. Let me also remind us that such issues have occurred in the past, but I think not to this level, because personal interest must be able to be put aside for the interest of the movement and the organization. No doubt that this scenario have tried to undermine our strength as an organization, and I think it's something that calls for concern of all of us. The only authority that can call a delegate conference is the National Executive Council. And that authority by a constitution called a delegate conference. All preliminary issues pertaining to the election were sorted out by the elders. All of us participated in the process, including the choice of the venue and reinforcement of security because of the episode that happened at the first scheduled election. And therefore, for us, after...
So you're disposed to peace?
Certainly, all of us are disposed to peace. All of us are disposed to peace and reconciliation.
Chimezie, what is the way forward? Must this delegates conference or election conference or whatever conference,
special conference,
must it hold on Saturday? Can't the NLC find a way to resolve these issues?
Fine. First and foremost, once beaten, twice shy. They have played a game at the first instance. This second one now came up, and that made people to say, how long shall we continue to play this hide and seek game? Look at what General.
So what is the solution?
No, I'm coming, I will tell you.
Because we don't have time. You have like 1 minute.
I expected him to even find out from the person that collapsed, how are you faring? But look at, he is taking it as he faked it. And it was not so. We have gone to see him.
Will your conference hold on Saturday?
It must hold. It will hold.
So you are not open to
we are Nigerian Labour Congress. And the only way to maintain peace, to move the Congress forward, is for that Congress to hold.
All right.
Okay.
And General Secretary, what will you do to bring these two factions together?
Well,
the Secretariat.
Yes, we have members, and those members are the affiliate unions, and we can only exist in the presence of our members. Ours is to continue to reach out to members, but in doing it, I think it is important to emphasize that the ultimate interest we represent is that of workers. And so in an affiliate union, the interest, the personal interest or ambitions of whoever is in a leadership position in that union must not be confused with the interest of the workers themselves.
Okay.
So we will reach out, and we will, please, write formally to all unions to obey the Constitution and to work together, or the NLC.
Let's end the program. Let's take the contributions of those that are watching us. Ogundele says, in all ramifications, this NLC has lost ground based on the election outcome. Professor Olasupo says, NLC elections have demonstrated that we have a collective problem of transition in Nigeria. And this is shameful. Well, gentlemen, we must thank you for coming, and we wish the NLC the best of luck.
Thank you very much. Mr. President,
thank you very much.
Congratulations again, and this is for you.
Yeah.
Dr. So, this is for your wife, not for you.
Not for you, because I already have
Thank you so much. Okay, Sylvester.
Thank you. The second time, let's wait.
Okay.
And that's our program for today. Remember, you're joining us again Tuesday at 11 p.m. You can watch this program if you missed part of it on hbl.com. I am Obiora Ilo from Abuja, Nigeria.
And I am Mahmoud Akura. See you again Tuesday night at 11 p.m. Bye for now.